Welcome and good morning. I'm Amanda. Thank you. I feel like so often with my students lately, I'm like, good morning, and they're like, we'll try that again. Good morning. Well, not to just start this with talking about me, but so you know why this is a little mysterious. I'm a music teacher, and I found out in early December that I have vocal nodules from overuse and aging and getting acid reflux. So I am now in vocal therapy, and the number one thing I'm supposed to do is use it less. So I'm not going to be singing today, but you will, and I will be in my heart, and I will be keeping my words minimal. If you haven't already, please turn your phone off or onto airplane mode. Helps with our connectivity. And good morning to all of our Zoom friends as well. Thanks for being here. We're going to go ahead and start with most of us singing Worship and Song, page 22, Great is Thy Faithfulness. Stand as you're able, please.
Since my mini-me can't sing, her parents think she looks more like me than her real mother. It's true. And I take that as a blessing. So Philip said, Joanne, can you lead? Oh, sure, I can do that. So 22 in the green hymnal, Great is Thy Faithfulness.
Thou changes all.
As I'm sure is the case for many of you, I've had a lot of thoughts running through my head lately, and some of them just kind of keep sticking. One of them, for me, was that I have a wonderful friend who's a choir director at a high school, and she had a student who ended up being involved in the Thespian Society for high schoolers. It's like a big association. I feel like I'm saying the name wrong, but they did this incredible production of Suffs, and if you haven't heard of that, it's a 2024 Tony Award-winning musical about the women's suffrage movement in America and the passing of the 19th Amendment. It's just phenomenal, it's funny, it's clever, it's brilliant, it's smart. If you have it, it's on Spotify if you'd like to listen to the soundtrack. And it ends with this amazing song called Keep Marching. And the Thespian Society, though it's not like out as a musical for everyone to do yet, they have special grants that high schools can apply for to actually do the musical. And so I believe Indiana was the first to perform it off Broadway since it's been on Broadway. So it was pretty incredible. And it was like every single star musical person from different high schools around the state were driving hours every weekend to do this. So it was such a labor of love. And it was so powerful to hear these words coming from mostly young women and some young men as well. So I'm just going to read you some of my favorite lines from the closing song, but please know that take a look at it. It's lovely. So it's called Keep Marching. You won't live to see the future that you fight for. Maybe no one gets to reach that perfect day. But if the work is never over, then how do you keep marching anyway? Do you carry your banner as far as you can, rewriting the world with your imperfect pen, till the next stubborn girl picks it up in a picket line over and over again? If you join in the chorus of centuries chanting to her, the path will be twisted and risky and slow, but keep marching. Keep marching. Will you fail or prevail? Well, you may never know, but keep marching. Keep marching. 'Cause your ancestors are all the proof you need that progress is possible, not guaranteed. It will only be made if we keep marching on. The gains will feel small and the loss is too large, but keep marching, keep marching. You'll rarely agree with whoever's in charge, but keep marching, keep marching. Yes, the world can be changed. We've done it before, so keep marching, keep marching. We're always behind you, so bang down the door, keep marching. Keep marching, and let history sound the alarm of how the future demands that we fight for it now. It will only be ours if we keep marching on.
Good morning. My name is Linda Lynn. On behalf of the Peace and Social Justice Committee, we again offer a few thoughts about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And today we're focusing on one institution, that of education, which, like every other institution, is under attack to erase all knowledge and practice of DEI. These institutional damages will have generational consequences. In George Orwell's book, 1984, the official language, newspeak, exists to meet the needs of the ruling party. The primary purpose of newspeak is to limit the range of thought by reducing the complexity of language. Dissent becomes unthinkable by the elimination of words that express rebellious ideas. And the manipulation of language serves as a tool for political control. 1 year ago in January, President Trump signed an executive order called Ending Radical and Wasteful Government DEI and Preferencing, aimed at dismantling the Department of Education and saying that, quote, inserting DEI into all aspects of the federal government and particularly into education has to end, unquote. This is the opening salvo of newspeak by this administration, inventing a convoluted rationale for the order and twisting the words of DEI into purveyors of destruction to our country. Then came the order ending radical indoctrination in K through 12 schools, a blueprint for canceling federal money to any school found, quote, indoctrinating children about gender identity or discriminatory equity ideas, unquote. Last January, Governor Braun signed an executive order of his own, removing the dreaded words of DEI from all official Indiana documents, replacing them with MEI, Merit, Excellence, and Innovation. The manipulation of language in government is nothing new, but what is new is the wide net cast to redefine massive numbers of words as being DEI related. Education has been identified as the carrier of this virus-like infestation of words. Education is not limited to the confines of school buildings, thus the order, one of my favorite titles, Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History, causing the Smithsonian to remove exhibits promoting DEI lies like slavery and women's rights history. Just this week, the National Park Service was forced to remove a historical display in Philadelphia at the site of Washington's residence because it commemorated the slaves who lived with and worked for our first president. In a blitzkrieg of executive orders, 225 this past year, word meanings are turned upside down, words and phrases deemed inadmissible in classrooms, and punishments enacted for their use. Forbidden language disappeared from textbooks and erased from data banks. School libraries forced to pull books from shelves or outright ban them. Teachers leaving the profession or retiring early from this big brother environment. How do students learn critical thinking if not allowed to state opposing ideas, use reasoning skills, explore history, and have unfettered access to the complexity of languages? What happens to a country that loses its narrative history? The Indiana legislature's pressing education bills this year include requiring public schools to teach students to wait until marriage before having children. Good luck with that one. Posting the 10 Commandments in classrooms, this perennial favorite, and it makes me think of Mark Striedelmeyer suggesting last year that perhaps we should post the Beatitudes in schools, be a little more useful. Penalizing schools if they fail to stop transgendered students from using restrooms or locker rooms that match their preferred gender identity. Denying grants to Indiana college degree programs that don't provide a sufficient return on investment for graduates. This is the story of my life here. So you may have to send your kids and grandkids out of state if they want to major in philosophy, counseling, sociology, English, psychology, social work, or theology. Timothy Snyder, in his book, On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century, reminds us that institutions help us to preserve democracy. They don't protect themselves and will fall unless we help them. We need to choose one institution, take its side, and defend it. How about we stop being surprised and paralyzed about what's happening and stand in the breach of these damaged walls of education? Let's find, support, and elect candidates for school and library boards. Show up at the State House for hearings on education bills. Show up at schools and library board meetings. Adopt a school in our neighborhood. Volunteer, listen, talk with teachers. Stand with them, advocate for them. Get on a first-name basis with the principal and have their back. Newspeak, what a power. Words once positive are now deemed negative. What was true is now false. Where words were once spoken, there is now silence. It is like a genocide of words, a cultural cleansing of ideas. Our educational institution depends on us. Let us take back our language. Let us every day use fine DEI words. Words which remind us of our better selves, words that let our neighbors know we see them and hear them, and words which welcome the stranger into our midst. Thank you.
Now is our time for announcements, and we'll start with anyone on Zoom. If you have an announcement, please unmute yourself. We'd love to hear it. If there are no announcements on Zoom, if there's anyone in the meeting house today who has one, please stand up and we will bring you a microphone.
Hi, this is Josiah Hostetler for Peace and Social Justice. To follow up with what Linda said, we have some events coming up this week. One is Standing in Solidarity with Our Immigrant Neighbors, hosted by the Peace Church Coalition of Indianapolis. They're getting the band back together, not a moment too soon. That's today at Northview Church of the Brethren. If you can't come for the pitch-in at noon, feel free to come for the program at 1. New View film series is screening Stranger at the Gate, and that is a remarkable film following Mac McKinney and Bibi at a masjid in Muncie, and about how he came to be a part of that community. It was an Oscar-nominated film a few years ago, and both BB and Mac will be there. It's free on Wednesday, February 4th at 7 p.m. At Butler in the Eidson Duckwall Recital Hall. And finally, something that we hope everyone can attend because it's on Zoom will be the community safety training, which will be held online, and it will help us determine how we can keep our communities safe as ICE and Customs and Border Protection increase their presence in all of our communities. It will cover what to look for, how to report sightings to your local hotline, how to document and de-escalate situations, and how to remind others of their rights. And so that went out through the email list, so feel free to sign up for those.
Jeff Gabbard, kind of tagging on to what Josiah said. So the email I sent out about the learning how to report these things, which I believe is February 5th, the link in the email I realize isn't really working very well to register for it, but if you go to Indianapolis First Friends Facebook page, there's a direct link there you can use to register for it. So.
It's Joanne Gulley, and I had sent out an email this morning about our book club, and I have the wrong date on that. It is actually going to be February 22nd, which is a Sunday. We're not meeting on Saturday. That might be fun, but we're not doing that. So it's going to be February 22nd, pitch-in, conversation, show and tell, all of it. So noon in the meeting room or in the dining room.
I'm Ellen Blacketer, and I'm just going to announce about our update for the directory. We have a directory, a couple copies out on the table, and we'd like for you to check all your information to be sure it's current, and anyone that would like to be added to the directory to put your information maybe on the back of one of those pages, and we will get you included. It's taking us a little while, but we've had a lot of missed Sundays, and there is more information in the newsletter if you want to check that. And you can call either Dinah or myself, and our phone numbers are in there, or April also will get you updated. And this is an online directory. It's different than our email list or newsletter list, and it is private for Fairfield, and you will get a password on how to get in, and it'll help keep us all connected. So if you can take the time to check that list today and add yourself, we'd appreciate it.
Hi, this is Sue Walton, and I'm wearing my history bug hat today, reminding you that we're going to have a meeting via Zoom at 7 o'clock on Wednesday to discuss the bicentennial. It isn't just a pitch-in, it's music, it's publicity, it's inviting people. We know the painting is done, Hunter, pretty much, that we have commissioned Lippy Whipple to do. So if you're interested, even if it's, hey, what do I need to do the day of? I actually have a list of things day of already and a timeline set up, but we want to invite people to get moving, because the more we talk about it, the more people will remember and not forget a date. So again, if you want, I'll put out, and I'll have Jeff put it out on Wednesday again, the Zoom link, because it is not the meeting's Zoom, it is by Zoom, and we'll be at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Thank you.
And Gautier, want to say thank you to everybody who's offered to help a family that contacted me this week and starting over kind of from scratch because they're having to move, leaving us bad situations. So many people contacted me with donations, and I sure appreciate you guys. And also, for all the immigrants I work with, winter's always hard because there's less work. And so I sure am noticing that people take up my offer of a box of food pretty readily, and so all your food donations are super helpful as well. And I was just telling Rhonda that our dear friend's son was taken a week ago, Friday. He was driving to work and he was stopped, and when he asked why he was pulled over, they said, "We saw you." So that's why he was pulled over. He was on his way to work and had no record. His truck was surrounded, and he first went to Terre Haute, then he went to Mississippi. He's already out, but she told me a tale of terrible suffering where he was, so it's good that he was processed and out within a week. He said several men were crying. There were over 300 people in a small place, and he said especially the older folks were really suffering. So it was pretty chilling to hear all that firsthand from someone, and it kind of gave me more of an idea of what we're fighting against here. So thank you always for all your support.
We'll now shift our focus to joys and concerns, and we'll start with our friends on Zoom. If you have a joy or concern to share, please unmute yourself. Anyone in the meeting room?
Hi, my name is Josiah Hostetler. I asked that John's brother, Jeff, be held in the light. He's part of the Indiana National Guard Reserve, and he'll be down in El Paso for the next 5 months.
Let us pray. To you, the light and the life that surrounds us and is in us all, we are grateful for this day to be able to be together we bring joyful hearts together, but we also bring sore and broken hearts to ask for healing in all the ways that it may come. In your light that surrounds us, and is in us all and all we see, we seek wisdom, we seek courage, we seek strength, we seek tenderness of heart and willingness to listen, to speak, to act for the good of all people and all of creation. We walk together. We walk with you. We ask you to remind us that you walk with all of us. Amen.
Good morning, friends. Well, today I want to talk about the power we have. When I was in high school, a man in our town ran for town board. He had the same last name as a well-respected citizen, and just enough people were confused by the similarity in names that he was elected. He made the mistake in assuming that since he'd been elected to office, he had power. So he proceeded to visit all the department heads of the town: street, police, fire, parks, water, and wastewater, and give them ill-conceived orders, which they ignored. He alienated so many of the town workers that when the blizzard of 1978 hit, the street department piled snow in his driveway for several weeks so he couldn't get out to boss them around. In a small town, it's the guy who drives the snowplow who has the power, and you forget that at your own peril. I think of that whenever I bump into someone who thinks power is about position and nothing else, who fails to realize that true power is rooted in expertise, kindness, and character. This is the difference between commanding and leading. Donald Trump might well have the power to command, but has proven time and again he lacks the moral authority to lead, which means we are under no obligation to follow his edicts. Power is never solely a matter of position. It is a matter of one's ethical stature. And wherever that is lacking, we have no responsibility to mindlessly follow. We're never obligated to obey a man who breaks the law, to respect a church who protects abusers, to support a government who denies its citizens liberty and justice. Our founding fathers and mothers believed governments derived their authority not from their role or position, but from the consent of the people they govern. When we, the people, don't consent to be led, the government loses its power to lead us. So today I want to talk about the power we have. There is institutional power, whose authority is position-based, and there is moral power, whose authority is ethically based, and it is moral power that serves as the corrective to the abuses of institutional power. This was the power of Jesus, who challenged Herod, the power of early friends who fought slavery, the power this week of Minneapolis citizens standing against the tyranny of ICE agents. Throughout human history, righteous moral power has always triumphed over unrighteous institutional power, sometimes not immediately, but always inevitably. I was speaking with a woman this week who was lamenting her perceived lack of power. She said, "I wish I was in charge so I could do something," which, if you think about it, is the exact opposite of the man who was elected to our town board and believed that being in charge gave him all the power. The man on the town board thought he had lots of power, and the woman talking with me thought she had no power, and both were mistaken. The man in overestimating his power, the woman in underestimating her power. Just as we should avoid the overestimation of our own importance, so too should we avoid the underestimation of our influence. This woman I was speaking with is well respected in our community. She said, "I wish I could speak up, but no one would listen to me if I did." I disagreed with her, and I suggested that she speak up. She said, "It'll make little difference. I have no audience, no influence, no social media followers, but we cannot leave it to the well-known and well-positioned to speak." Stephen Miller is well-known and well-positioned. Franklin Graham is well-known and well-positioned. Elon Musk owns the largest social media platform in the world. Are we willing to let them be the leading voices? I love the story of the Quaker Benjamin Lay. Interesting character, 4 feet tall, humpbacked, with a protruding chest, these horrible disfigurements since birth. Born in England to Quaker parents in 1682, he came to America via Barbados, where he witnessed an enslaved man commit suicide rather than being beaten by his enslaver. A glove maker, a farmer, and day laborer, when he rose to speak in Quaker meeting against slavery, no one listened. Yet he continued, persisting in his witness until 4 Quaker meetings he belonged to disfellowshipped him. 280 years later, in 2018, the last of those meetings, Southern East Anglia area meeting, part of Britain yearly meeting, finally restored his membership and rescinded its disowning of Benjamin Lay. And though he was disowned, he nevertheless persisted. And one person finally listened And in 1737, Benjamin Franklin printed Benjamin Lay's book, All Slave Keepers That Keep the Innocent in Bondage. So it was that a man no one listened to was eventually heard by hundreds of thousands, one of whom was John Woolman, who first heard Lay speak the next year, 1738, at the Burlington, New Jersey meeting house. Benjamin Lay, who knew how to communicate a point, hid a bladder of pokeberry juice in his Bible and pulled from his coat a dagger, which he plunged into his Bible, causing the pokeberry juice to splatter the wealthy Quaker slaveholders seated around him, crying out as he did, "Thus shall the Lord spill the blood who enslave his children." Lay was thrown from the meeting house into the gutter. Woolman hurried outside to help him to his feet. But Lay refused to move, saying only the men who had thrown him in the gutter could lift him out of it. So there he lay as the departing Quakers stepped over his body. 16 years later, in 1754, Woolman published his first book, Some Considerations on the Keeping of Negroes. But remember this, friends, without Benjamin Lay, there is no John Woolman. Without John Woolman, there is no eventual rejection of slavery among friends. Aren't you profoundly grateful? No one ever told Benjamin Lay he had no influence, no voice, no power. Whenever I feel hopeless, I think of Benjamin Lay, who in his young years saw a desperate man kill himself, so vowed he would bring help and hope to the enslaved, and did. Not in one day, for the work of justice is a long game, just as our labors today will not result in victory tomorrow. Just as our nation's moral poverty did not materialize overnight, neither will it be solved overnight, but it will be solved. Every day, the weight of judgment falls more heavily upon Donald Trump and his collaborators. So ultimately, being unaccustomed to difficulty, being creatures of comfort and ease, unaccustomed to struggle, ultimately they will not bear the strain. They may have the guns, but we have the guts. They may have the prisons, but we have the persistence. They may have the money, but we have the morality. They may well have the Goliaths, but we have the Davids. And we know, don't we, who beat who. Friends, let us stand together and sing our closing hymn, number 21, O God, our help in ages past. As we sing, if we could have a few volunteers to collect our food. please? Come on down. Come on down. Linda applied for membership in the meeting. Come on right up here. Don't be bashful. Don't be afraid. And in customary Linda fashion, sent me a snarky email asking what membership involved and wanting to know if she would receive, upon acceptance of membership, a secret Quaker decoder ring. And so I said yes. You did? And today I present you. Now it's a size 7, and I looked it up on the internet, and that's the most common women's size 7. There you go, it fits a finger. That's right. And no matter what direction you turn that, no matter how you establish your Quaker decoding ring, it always has the same message.
Which is?
Keep marching. And that is our message to you, friends.
Thank you.
The message Amanda brought us. Keep marching. Keep marching. And when you get your secret decoder ring, it will tell you the same thing. Keep marching. Turn and greet friends.